Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello dear learners, welcome to this online course on writing skills. I am Dr. Divya Gupta, an assistant professor at GLA University, Mathura. Today we are going to start with paragraph writing. In our previous lecture, we did effective ways of writing, and in that particular thing, we learned how the words are selected, how the proper usage of any kind of sentence structure will lead to the effective way of writing, and then we did the 4 styles of writing as well, that is narrative, persuasive, descriptive and expository. Now many of you might be thinking that what is the need of learning paragraph writing? Why can't we directly jump towards article writing, letter writing or report writing, notice writing, advertisement writing? Why this paragraph writing? What is the requirement or the dire need of learning the paragraph structure, the paragraph excellent writing? What is the need of it? Basically, you might have heard that the smallest unit of sentence structure, or we can say our composition, our structure, our language is the word. Any word could be called the building block on which our whole story, multi-story building actually stands, right? In the same manner, when these words compiled together, you learnt about the selection of words. Now after learning the selection of words, you would learn how these words would be compiled together in a very synchronized and meticulous manner so that you can form up a paragraph. Now these paragraphs will compile together to form up an excellent piece of writing, or we can say a very good composition to be read and applauded by the readers. So with this note, we will one by one concentrate on different aspects of paragraph writing. What are the different styles, what are the major components of paragraph writing, etc. So without wasting much time, we will move forward towards the paragraph writing aspect. Now, how can you be the perfect paragraph writer, the perfect draft, you can say? How can you produce a perfect draft, perfect piece of writing? Now, there are few tips and there are few lessons for you so that you can be perfectly, or you can be an excellent writer. With this note, we will move forward towards the learning outcomes. When I talk about the lecture, it has to be something very productive. And what would be the outcomes of this particular lecture? Basically, you would learn that how to understand the paragraph structure. You will be able to actually understand it, the paragraph structure. Then you would be able to connect all those logical ideas together within a paragraph, that how these logical ideas, logical views, they come one by one, step by step in your paragraph. You will learn how to maintain coherence and paragraph length. Paragraph coherence is unity of thought. So how will you maintain that coherence? And then further you talk about paragraph length. Your paragraph cannot be of 300 or 400 words, my dear. It will be not more than 100 to 150 words. Otherwise, the paragraph will become monotonous. Not more than, at least I believe, max to max 7 to 8 lines, right? So, don't write a lengthy paragraph, otherwise it will be monotonous and tedious for the readers to understand and learn anything and grasp your idea. Further, you will learn the keywords and phrases with parallel structure of sentences. So, how will you maintain a balance between two things? That is the main aspect over here. Because while drafting while talking about any sentence structure, you must have the parallel structure, otherwise the sentence would be grammatically incorrect. Further, to make it more embellished, obviously you will have to select the keywords and idioms and phrases regularly in order to embellish your paragraph. So, these are the things that we are going to, that I expect you people to gain actually after going through this particular lecture. Then we move up towards the content, that step by step how are we going to make ourselves perfect and excellent in paragraph writing. So, what are the contents basically? We will learn what is the difference between title and topic sentence. They are two different types, they are two different parts of the paragraph, they are not similar. Many students get confused that title and topic sentence is entirely the same thing. No, no my dear students. If I say online education versus on-site education, that means this is the title. This is not at all the topic sentence. Understood everyone? Topic sentence could either come in the beginning, at the beginning of the paragraph or at the end of the paragraph. So, you have to identify that where is the topic sentence. So, we learn how to differentiate between topic sentence and title. Is that clear? Then we will move up towards the traits of paragraph writing. Traits of paragraph writing, or you can say the characteristics of paragraph writing. In this condition, you will yourself be able to identify the unity, and then you will find out the keywords and phrases to be used in it, then again parallel structure, and you would be able to know the role of consistency and emphasis in a paragraph, and then further, last but not the least, grammatical efficacy in the development of writing. You must know how and when your words should come. Your ideas should categorize accordingly, should show the development of the thought. Understood everyone? So, further with this note, we have understood that what are the contents, what are the basic things that we are going to learn over here. Then let us talk about paragraph writing. What is paragraph writing? According to Concise Dictionary, basically, when we talk about paragraph, it is actually the Concise Oxford Dictionary, it is the distinct unit in prose writing and marked by an indentation of the first line. So, basically when we talk about indentation, is it related to something like leaving 2 inches space or 2 or 1 inch space, 1.5 inches space in the beginning of the line? Actually, in the ancient period, or we can say few years back, generally we used to have that kind of parallel paragraph structure, but now they have changed and either of them is accepted. And so, paragraph deals with the single controlling ideas, remember this thing. And what is a paragraph symbol? You can see it over here. This is the paragraph symbol used in printed text to indicate a new paragraph, or reference mark is a paragraph symbol, or a paragraph mark, is it like that? Understood everyone? Then we move up towards the paragraph length, as if I told you that according to the required need, according to the requirement, you must know that what would be the length of the paragraph. It should not exceed 7 or 8 lines, or maybe 150 words, right? So, do not exceed your paragraph more than 150 or 175, because that would be monotonous and tedious to read for the readers. Then what are the 4 steps of writing paragraph? As if we, in our previous lecture also, we discussed about pre-writing. So, you have to go for your homework. First of all, you have to do your homework before writing any kind of piece of composition or any kind of like paragraph. Remember, so paragraph writing needs pre-writing first of all. Collection of ideas, collection of content is required. Then you need to draft it. After drafting, you must revise it, and then after a few days, maybe after 2 or 3 days, edit it again with a different kind of perception. Because regularly if you go on reading the same kind of paragraph, what will happen? Your eyes become used to, gradually your eyes become used to those particular like they became congenial, they become congenial with those kind of errors, and you are not able to find out the exact errors that are there in the paragraph. So, leave it for 1 or 2 days and then take it up again. Okay. So, that is called, that is the editing part, which is again a very important part over here. Then we talk about the kinds of sentences in this particular paragraph writing. Now, what are these kinds of sentences when I talk about? First of all, we have the topic sentence, and in that topic sentence, what you should remember is it should contain the entire gist or summary of the paragraph, because it clearly indicates that how the idea will be developed. Okay. And then further, your major and your minor supporting sentences. That means whatever is the gist, you must come up with the major ideas, jot down those ideas in your brain, and again just mention the minor supporting statements in this. So, a concluding, and last but not the least, the concluding sentence. The concluding sentence is actually the gist of the whole paragraph. If you are talking about online and on-site education or teaching learning process, the topic sentence would be talking about the gist of the same thing, and then further talking the major and minor sentences, supporting sentences would be certainly talking about the merits and demerits of both the things. Now, once you discussed about the merits and demerits of both the things, both online and on-site education, then you can go on with something different, that is concluding both the things. Thus, use the term thus, at last, finally, like that, or at the end, like this. So, these are the terms that could be used at the end of it. And then further we move towards the points to remember. Now, what are the points that you should keep in mind while drafting a paragraph? Now, in that case, we have an indent. First of all, as I told you, that we leave some space in the beginning of a sentence, that is maybe 1.5 inch or maybe sometimes 2 inches. But nowadays, according to the current writing pedagogy or writing technique, in that condition, most of the people, they have left out this thing, and now points will be written just below it without actually leaving any kind of space. Use capital letters at the beginning of a sentence. That is true, that is very much accurate, because grammatically and punctuations should be perfectly alright, should always remain at a perfect time, perfect place. One period at the end of the sentence of a sentence or paragraph. So, in this condition, you should remember that it should have the full stop at the end, right? Full stop at the end. And do not use bullets or point forms. In a paragraph, you are not supposed to use bullets or any kind of like arrow key or maybe points in that paragraph structure. Understood? So, this is very important while talking about paragraph writing. Now, we will go up one by one how these things develop, and we will see first of all the difference between title and topic sentence. Understood everyone? So, the topic sentence forms the backbone of a paragraph. Remember my dear students, it is a kind of gist, whatever you are talking about in a paragraph. And then whereas when we talk about title forms, title forms the backbone of the essay or composition. That means the entire paragraph compositions, like the first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, will be compiled together and form one title. Is that clear? And whereas topic sentence will be entirely dependent on the gist of the paragraph. Understood? Then we move up to, it gives shape and purpose to your writing. It helps create order within and between paragraphs. Shape, it gives shape and purpose to your writing. It clearly indicates nobody wants to read the entire long length of paragraph for these readers. They would not at all go through it. Rather, what would they do? They would certainly try to come up with certain examples where certain lines which clearly indicates that you are providing the purpose of writing this paragraph. Whereas title, it should not be more than 5 to 6 words. That is very much clear to all of you. Title, and then it helps create order within and between paragraphs. Between two paragraphs, it creates an order, it creates a connectivity. That in first paragraph, if you are talking about major aspects, major points of identification or points to remember, then in second paragraph you must talk about the merits and demerits of it, and then the third paragraph, for example, like if I talk about letter writing, there are several paragraphs. Now in this condition, the first paragraph will talk about the what is the problem all about, right. Second paragraph will tell about the effects of those problems in your society, and after telling the effects, in third paragraph you will come up with the solution of that particular problem from your side. What are the suggested solutions to it? So that is what, step by step, coming up with 3 paragraphs with 3 different ideas, but they are correlated with each other. That is called coherence, remember. So further, you should allow your readers to follow your arguments in that condition, and it demonstrates your understanding of formal writing, how your formal writing should develop. So all these traits, they will certainly or finally will be helpful for you to draft a perfect paragraph. It depicts about the whole composition. Now with this note, we will move forward towards coherence. Have you ever heard about coherence? Many of you might have heard about it. So, but how are we going to establish this kind of coherence? You remember this thing, that you cannot actually provide unity to any thought. You cannot provide unity to any thought when I talk about coming up with the ideas that are incohesive, you can say. You must have a cohesive paragraph. Understood? Cohesive paragraph means unity of thought. In one paragraph, ideas are linked and becomes the precursor of another one. That means the first paragraph will say something and the second paragraph will show the continuity of that same idea. Okay? So, it would not be beating around the bush or abruptly coming up to the next point immediately. It must have the connection between two. That is called unity, unity of thought. Remember, my dear students, then we talk about how are we going to bring this unity. Many questions, many people will say that I have heard about coherence, I have several times heard about several things, how to bring about unity, but how? The question arises, how? Because many people talk about coherence, many people talk about unity, many people talk about the grammatical structure, but how are we going to bring that? There are few steps through which you can bring about the coherence and actually the unity of thought in your paragraph. These are as follows. Covert links are there. Now what do you mean by covert links? There are covert links, for example, the words, that is pronoun first of all. You can use the similar pronoun again and again in order to bring about the unity of thought, that you are talking about the same person. Understood everyone? Then point number 2, you must remember that after pronouns, if you are talking about certain examples, certain sentences, certain sentence linkers, for example, if I take up few things, like I went to the market and purchased several items, for example, bananas, apples, mangoes, etc. Now in this condition, for example will be the sentence linker. Understood everyone? I am connecting, I went to the market and purchased few articles, for example. So, for example will definitely be able to be used as the sentence linkers, right? Because for example will generally lead to several list of items which will help you to understand the purpose. Am I clear everyone? So, these are the points. First of all, pronouns, as if I told you, they, we, it, this, some demonstrative pronouns like this. Okay. So, some demonstrative pronouns like this, that, these, those could be used as the connectives as the linkers. Okay. Because like the same paragraph will carry the same pronouns, remember. If I am using they for my group of friends, my group of friends came, suddenly visited my place and I was excited to receive them and enjoyed their company. Their company, they, all these words, we, everything, every pronoun is used as a connective, point number 1. Point number 2 is What I told you, sentences as a linker. Sentences, for example, look at this as an example. For example, this clearly exemplifies anything. Okay? It clearly exemplifies. Then further you have at that time, at that very moment. It indicates the time relation. It clearly indicates the time relation, that how am I going to connect these two time. At that time I was busy in doing the English task. Okay. So, at that time I am connecting that time with the present one. Understood? So, this is clear. Thus, hence, therefore, these are the words that shows the result, indicates cause and effect and result of something. Then we further move to similarly, also, likewise. I said that similarly I enjoyed the company of my different scholars. So, similarly is actually trying to connect myself or my previous situation with the current situation. Understood everyone? Expresses comparison. So, you can very easily show the comparison between two things. Understood everyone? So, expresses comparison by the use of similarly, also, likewise. Then we talk about on the other hand, in contrast, on the contrary. This clearly indicates that I am talking about two things. As if I told you, if I take up two more examples and two more instances of paragraph writing, if I say bravery versus cowardice. Now, in this condition, bravery and cowardice, they are two different terminologies and I am going to compare them. So, what will happen? On the other hand, this is used. Then in contrast, on the other hand, bravery is the quality. Bravery is the quality that many soldiers possess, whereas on the contrary, on the other hand, cowardice is the quality of the people who are very much subdued and they follow their own self-interest. So, this would be the comparison between two things. I can correlate two ideas with the help of these words. Expresses contrast, nevertheless, and then conversely in comparison. Now, nevertheless, conversely, comparison, these are few words that creates coherence. Then we further move towards the sequence of words. This is the third category, you know, the third part. First part was pronoun, as if you remember in our previous slide we saw this thing, pronouns. Then we talk about sentence linkers, right. We talk about sentence linkers and we understood that how are we going to emphasize on certain things, how these words, specific phrases will be used to connect two sentences. And last but not the least, the sequence of words. How these sequence of words will add connection between two things. You have to understand, for example, firstly, secondly. Actually, this clearly indicates that few more ideas are going to turn up, right. Firstly, if I am using firstly, I will definitely use secondly and thirdly like this, or you can say then. For example, after I shut down the computer, I went to play. So, after clearly indicates that I am talking about the next situation that is going to turn up. Okay. For example, if I say not only but also, if I am using not only for some sentences, I will certainly use for but also as a conjunction over here, right. I not only purchased mangoes from the market, but also created but also made jam out of it, right. So, in that condition, I not only purchased bananas from the market, but also created or made or cooked jam out of it. So, we know that there has to be some kind of connection between two. Without that, there would be no grammatical structure. First, take the basket, then fill with potatoes. Understood everyone? So, with this note, we will move forward towards different keywords and phrases that are supposed to be used to embellish your paragraphs. Okay? So, your paragraph must have beautiful, some embellished words so that your readers may know that you are quite literate, okay? That your word power is magnificent, is perfect. So, plethora of options will definitely open up in front of you when you talk about these keywords and phrases, okay. So, let me give a few more examples for phrases. A penny saved is a penny earned. Add fuel to fire. Then bed of roses. You might have heard about these phrases, but these phrases are very much applicable when I talk about certain terminologies. Feather in one's hat. Then you can talk about haste makes no waste. Then hat tricks. I hope that everyone, it's very clear that idioms, if I talk about idioms and phrases, remember you cannot form the meaning of the idioms because they have a different kind of meaning. It has to be different from what they appears actually. And phrases, they are quite similar, straightforward, right. So, for example, hat trick. Then we further talk about hit below the belt, icing on the cake, etc. So, like this we can move forward with these type of things by using these idioms, you can say. Then further talking about the phrases, all in all, be sick and tired of, now and then. Now and then, my teacher calls me now and then in order to check that I am working or not. So, now and then is regularly. Then read somebody's mind. It clearly indicates that what does the writer wants to say. The other side of the coin. Looking at the other side of the coin, people are starving. People are suffering a lot during COVID-19 because they don't have any sources of income. So, in that condition, these phrases clearly show that how the direct meaning could be conveyed. Okay? Take somebody's point. Now, with this note, I would like to ask you guys that what is the difference between phrases and clauses? Have you ever thought about this thing? What is the difference between phrases and clauses? Since we are talking about keywords, we are talking about phrases, grammatical structures, any kind of like idea, what is the difference between phrases and clauses? Basically, when we talk about sentence structure, you might be knowing that sentence comprises of subject and verb, right? The subject and the action verb. Now, in this condition, whenever there is in phrases, either we have subject or we have verb. And please mind this word that or we have verb. That means only subject and only verb will be there in phrase. Whereas clauses actually indicates that there is a compatibility or a friendship of the subject and verb, both in the sentence, right. For example, if I say phrases, an expensive jewelry shop. Now, in this condition, an expensive jewelry shop will be an example of phrase, right. But when I talk about clause, it will be he runs will again be an example of clause. He is the subject and runs is the verb. Understood everyone? So, please keep that in mind that what is the difference between phrases, clauses, idioms, words, etc. So, with this note we move forward towards the next aspect, that is difference between idioms and phrases, because they form the magnificent, or we can say they can definitely turn your monotonous, boring paragraph into a very embellished one, right. So, idioms are metaphorical and their meaning is not literal. Remember, my dear students, idioms cannot be framed. You cannot come up with the idea of the idiom, what it tries to convey, what it is trying to convey through your ideology, through your thinking. You must have to go through the entire meanings list, then only you would be able to understand. Whereas phrases can be understood directly, okay. They could be understood directly, there is no issues in understanding the phrases. Then further, idiom is a phrase like raining cats and dogs is both an idiom and a phrase, remember. Whereas phrase is like, suppose if I say herd of cats, can be a phrase. Phrase can be created, but idioms cannot be created by your side. It must have a different and definite meaning, okay. So, idioms are fixed and you cannot create a new idiom. For example, to bell the cat, you cannot say to bell the dog. Understood everyone? Because that will have this different, that would certainly be a wrong idiom, okay. Whereas, you can talk about the phrase to bell the sheep. This is a new phrase, Definitely. So, all the idioms can be the phrases, but not the phrase, all the phrases could not be the idioms, remember. Then these are the few more points. An idiom, for example, some historical and cultural meaning associated with it. For example, if I say uphill task, uphill task is generally, or Herculean task. Herculean task is something, Hercules is the name of the mythological hero. Remember my dear students, in the same manner if I talk about phrases, we do not have any historical and cultural meaning. In phrase all in all, there is no historical and cultural meaning. All in all, I stood first in the class or something like that. So, phrase will not have any kind of historical or mythological reference. You can hardly find out the meaning of any idiom on your own without knowing it, without knowing the definite meaning of it. You have to go through the dictionary to find out the meaning, everyone. Now, in that condition, many times phrases can be made on the basis of your understanding. So, with this note, we move forward towards parallelism. Parallelism means, what is that? It is the balance. When we talk about balancing two things, remember my dear students, when I talk about balancing two things, that means balancing a sentence structure. For example, if I say in one hand I have something like 8 apples, and on the other hand I have you can say 4 apples and 4 bananas. So, will that be called parallel structure? What is parallel? Having two equal things at the same time. So, parallelism in writing means that similar parts in the sentence must have same structure. Same structure means an infinitive will combine with an infinitive, a gerund will combine with a gerund. Okay? So, in this case, you can very easily see that phrases or clauses could be combined, a phrase will be combined with another phrase, a clause will be combined with another clause. 3 apples together, then 2 apples and 1 orange. So, it clearly indicates that it is a balance and no balance. Further, we move about or talk about different strategies. How are we going to maintain that kind of parallelism in our structure, in our sentences? As if I told you that a sentence may have several phrases and clauses. Now, in this condition, what happens? It becomes really tough for anyone to understand the structure. For example, let us take up this one. Tanu likes singing, dancing and to kayak. Is it right? No, because these two are gerund, whereas to kayak is an infinitive. What would be the correct structure? Singing, dancing and kayaking. Then further, jolly aunts munched the biscuits, crumbling cakes and sipping the cokes headed across the countertop. Now, finite and non-finite clause confusions. In this condition, crumbling, sipping, headed. So, what would be the correction in this? Munching will definitely be parallel to crumbling and sipping. Understood everyone? So, that is again by adding ing to it, finite to non-finite clauses. Then we come up with the next example. They are like that. Like take up this example, a huge watermelon. I bought 3 items at the store. A huge watermelon, a frozen pizza. Now, one more adjective is missing. And if I say a magazine, will definitely be a wrong point? Yes, because without adding the adjectives in the same point, your sentence structure would be incorrect. So, this is called parallelism, you know. So, when I talk about and a long read magazine is correct. So, add few more adjectives in that so that you can bring about the consistency in a sentence. Further, we talk about how are we going to bring the things, make them parallel. For example, if I say when Tony couldn't find his jeans, he looked into. Now, can you see the usage of prepositional phrases? In the closet, under the stairs. Now, what will you say? You will write down one more prepositional phrase only over here. Understood everyone? So, and in the closet, under the stair, into the room, right? Or you can say under the bed, Could be anything, remember my dear students. So, further with this note we move forward towards the next category, that is the grammatical structures. Now, we will see playing, enjoyed basketball, then video games. Now, in this condition, Harsh enjoyed basketball more than video games. I have not added any noun with noun. Remember, basketball with video games, not playing. Playing will be deleted from here. Is that clear? Understood everyone? Basketball is the noun over here and then it will be added to video games. Further, he enjoyed basketball. This is the correct version of it. Then adjective with adjective. In our previous example also we learnt my English class was both interesting, that is adjective, interesting and challenge. Now, in this condition what happens? I am talking about an interesting, that is an adjective, whereas challenge will become the noun. Okay. So, you are not supposed to add adjective with noun when you are writing a perfect grammatically correct structure, sentence structure. So, my class, English class was both interesting and challenging is the correct answer. Then you further move to words, combination of verb with verb. What is this? Like she, on her birthday she ate is the verb, she danced is the verb and to sing is the infinitive. Okay. So, infinitive is not allowed over here, rather what would you say? Talking about the past tense, eat, ate, eaten. So, if it is the past indefinite sense, obviously she ate, she danced and she sang. Sing, sang, sung. So, sang is the second verb form. Am I right everyone? So, remember how are we going to bring about the parallel structure. Then we further move towards few more examples so that you may become the perfect or you can say you all can imbibe the lot of knowledge related to parallel structure, because they will definitely embellish your paragraph writing. How are we going to bring? Adverb with adverb. The tiger walked slow and menacingly towards its prey. Now, the tiger walked slowly because menacingly is again what? An adverb. When I talk about adverb, it will be combined with adverb only, right? You cannot combine it with something adjective, okay, with some adjective. So, that would be not a good combination. Verb only with verb. Then infinite with infinite. So, Gopi likes to sing, to dance, playing. Now, again the same structure. To sing is an infinitive, right? To dance is again an infinitive, whereas playing the piano becomes a verb. To play the piano is the correct answer. Understood everyone? So, with this we have one more example, gerund with gerund. Moni likes hiking, swimming and to ride. So, remember gerund with infinitive versus infinitive, right everyone? You all must have a deeper knowledge of using these terms, using these grammatical structures in a perfect manner. So, what would be the correct answer? Hiking, swimming and riding. Or you can say Moni likes, if I make it like infinitively using the infinitives, likes to hike, comma, to swim and to ride. Will that be correct? Absolutely right. Understood? Either make it gerund plus gerund or you can make infinitive plus infinitive. Then we move up to the next one. These are phrases with phrases. Selling books is a better business than selling of coffee. So, that is that selling books is a single phrase and the selling of coffee is the another phrase, right. So, selling coffee, selling of is wrong over here, right. Then people enjoy watching movies in the theatre to examine scenes of them in offices. So, people enjoying watching will be parallel to examining, remember. So, with this we move forward towards the next part, that is clause with clause. As if I told you how are you going to identify the clause? It must have the structure, subject and verb compatibility. So, many students are interested in history when they read it at home, study it in school and watching it on television. So, that means read, study and watching will be incorrect. So, therefore, it will be watch is the correct one. Then we further say that Mr. Shukla did not like his new workplace because he could not leave early, come late and to take breaks easily. So, leave, to leave, am I going to add to leave? No. To come late? No. So, why to take breaks easily? We will write leave early, come late and take breaks easily. Understood everyone? I have deleted to from here, to will be wrong. Understood? I think the concept of parallelism is getting clearer day by step by step, and this would be the last thing, correlative conjunctions, that I have already given you the example, not only but also. Then so and so. Sometimes we use so and so. Sometimes we use so and as. Okay. Sometimes we use no sooner than. Remember my dear students, they are correlative conjunctions. So, if we are using either over here in a sentence, you must use or. If you are use neither in a sentence, you must use nor. It is mandatory to form up a parallel structure. So, these are correlative conjunctions. As if you know this thing very well, the workers disrupted not only the magazine article but also the company's official statement. Then we further move towards the next part where we are talking about few more, last but not the least, a very perfect example of these types. Now, look at this, modern cars are constructed from neither aluminium nor from iron. Now, what is the use of using from over here? Okay, neither aluminium nor iron is perfectly correct. Then his remark suggested both sarcasm and bitter. Bitter what? Bitterness. Okay, so suggested his remarks suggested both sarcasm and bitterness. Understood? So, that is what we generally used to have in our parallel structure. With this note, I think your parallelism, your parallel structure, the concept of it is very much clear to you. Understood everyone? So, till now what we have done? We have done the language aspect, we have done the word usage, we have done the coherence and bringing about a unity in thought, and then difference between topic and title, topic, sentence and title. Then we further move towards the role of consistency. What is consistency? Consistency is regularity. Can you do one thing? Can you just walk for 2 steps and then you take rest and then you move 2 miles again, or 2 steps or 4 steps again? You need some kind of continuity, right? Otherwise, your ideas would be disrupted. Okay? And once your idea would be disrupted, nobody will pay attention towards you. Okay? So, it must have the consistency. For that consistency, you must have to adjust your paragraph length. Now, paragraph length becomes a very important topic, very important aspect of any kind of paragraph writing. Adjust your paragraph length according to the reader's interest. Are they ready to read? How much information are you going to provide in that paragraph? So, according to the readers, you must decide your paragraph length. Then after deciding your paragraph length, you must try to come up with the subject matter. What is the content? What is the content of your paragraph? Remember my dear students, they are very important. What is the content? Then adjust your paragraph length to the variety and emphasis of it. Remember demands, what is the basic demand of your paragraph writing? Are you fulfilling the purpose? Are you trying to come up with the objectives? Fulfill those objectives. Then consistency and coherence are maintained on the basis of usage of pronouns, repetitions, synonyms and connectives. This we have already done in our previous slides. We have already done the connectives. What are the connectives? We learnt about the sentences, sentence linkers in that. I hope you remember. Then we did how these words are used, synonyms, then repetition of the words. So, all these things are very important to bring about the consistency and coherence in a sentence. Then obviously, anyone can satisfy anybody just by the use of any grammatical structure. I mean to say, like, if your grammar is perfect, if you can write a a perfect sentence structure with a good grammar, good vocabulary, good punctuation marks, and like good content. Now, if somebody has any kind of flaw, then that particular flaw can be overcome, can be you can say ignored. But grammatical efficacy matters a lot when you talk about development of writing. Development of writing basically depends on few steps or few strategies. What are they? When we talk about the paragraph development of the thought, the idea in a paragraph, it depends on writer. Which kind of strategy is he trying to come up? Do you want to allure the readers? Do you want to actually ask or let the readers come up with their ideas? Yes, of course. For whom you are writing? For readers only, right? So, you will identify first of all which kind of like terminology, which kind of thinking process do they have, right? Once they have once you have identified your readers, you try to come up with different types of speaking, with different types of writing style, like inductive order. What is inductive order? You must try to come up with the ideas starting from the general to the specific, okay, and from specific to general. So, maybe like whatever your idea is, when you talk about inductive order, inductive order is from starting from the particular statement, particular point. What is your theme? Starting from the particular point to the general idea. Remember, understood everyone? So, if you want to talk about economic depression, if you want to talk about the suppose if I say education pattern, so what will you do? You will directly talk about the NEP policy, National Education Policy first of all, and then you go deep into several aspects of it, right. So, that is inductive, particular statement to general statement. Then further the second one is deductive order. That means, first you talk about general aspects. You would directly not go to NEP, National Education Policy. Rather, you will talk about first of all trainings, about education pedagogy, about HR department, about your human resource department, change in syllabus, and what are the benefits, what are the practical things that are supposed to be done with the students in while teaching, or computer assisted language labs. You talk about several other things and then compile those things together to form up your own main gist, main idea. So, that is deductive, from general statement to particular statement. Topic sentences in this comes in at the first position, remember, whereas in inductive order topic sentences comes at the end. Then question to question answer, question order, that means like, are you ready to bring about a change in your system? You begin with this sentence, okay, and then put a question mark after that and start writing about the paragraph, about the topic that you are going to start. So, what would be the basic headline towards it? You are raising a question, trying to invite people's thought, readers' thought in that condition. So, question is raised and answered throughout the paragraph. This is again a best way of making your actually paragraph more interesting, more appealing, you know. Time order. What is time order? You are going to talk about one event leads to another, yeah, right. Like you can talk about the yesterday I went to the market, yesterday I went to the to IIT Kanpur, and then I gave several other, I visited several parks, I visited several amphitheater over there, several infrastructural development, and then so what is that? I am taking time order, and today I am over here for this kind of lecture. So, what does it clearly indicates? That wow, this person is trying to connect event by event, coming up with that paragraph. So, that will make the problem, that will make your paragraph more interesting. Comparison and contrast, these two things are very important, can be compared and contrasted alternatively. As if I told you, if there are two things, obviously you will turn about or talk about two different things in a very while talking about their common things, or what are the similarities between them, or what are the dissimilarities between them. So, that is comparative study and coming up with the contrast. Enumeration is what? Counting them one by one. Firstly, secondly, thirdly. So, what will you do? There are several enticing features of the mall. So, what would you talk about? In that condition, you clearly talk about the specific infrastructural development, the special shops that are open, and for disabled also they have their section. Then further there are several beautiful exposures given to the students, and there are several open halls were there provided to the students. So, now what will happen? The setting will be accordingly 1, 2, 3, or maybe firstly, secondly, finally, like that. Understood? So, once you talk about the paragraph structure, you can definitely enumerate one by one. Then space order, discuss about the location of the place or description of a particular object. Space order, it clearly indicates about the location. So, these are 7 points where you can actually draft your paragraph in a perfect manner, either inductive, deductive, or question to answers, or time order, space order, enumeration, and then comparison and contrast. So, it depends on you which type of paragraph style or the way of developing the thought you are going to choose. With this note, we move forward towards the conclusion part. Now, in this condition, we generally say, now at the conclusion, just checking your intelligence, I would certainly be able to, or like I have incorporated one paragraph over here. Now, in this condition, just go through this paragraph and we would certainly analyze it accordingly. I come home and want the news headlines. Latest football scores or stock market. Prices in a hurry without waiting for the next news broadcast. Or I want to see the local theatre listings, racing results or weather forecast. So, I punch a few buttons on a small keypad and display the chosen flashes on my TV screen in gaudy eye-catching color. So, now after just going through the whole paragraph, I give you just 2 minutes to think over. Now, what you have to do is, you have to find out first of all the topic sentence. You have to tell the topic sentence of this particular paragraph, as if on the basis of this lecture you might have understood how to identify the topic sentence. Okay? So, the first thing that you are going to tell is what is the topic sentence. Second thing that I would like to ask you is that, do we have any parallel structure in this? Do we have any parallel structure in this? Because this is again a very important point. Okay? Then after learning this thing, that the parallel structure, now you would say or you would tell me that which is the concluding sentence in this paragraph. What is the conclusion? The concluding line of this paragraph. And fourth point, what could be the title? Suggest the title of this paragraph. If you are able to find out all these things, you are perfect at it. But if you are still lacking behind while finding those things, I leave up to you that you have to go through this lecture once again, identify the topic sentence. How can you identify? Because this thing provides the strength to your writing. And after finding out the strength, obviously you would be able to draft a perfect letter, perfect paragraph for you people. Understood everyone? So, do we have parallel structure first of all? Tell me. Do we have parallel structure? Now look at this. I come home and want the news headlines. Latest football scores or stock market prices in a hurry without waiting for the next news broadcast. So, this is the first sentence, right? Now, second, or I want to see the local theatre listings, racing results or weather forecast. So, I am joining two sentences with the connectors. or. So I punch a few buttons on a small keypad and display. So is again a key connector over here, connective, right? It is a connective over here. How is it a connective? Because it is trying to connect two things together. So, previous idea and the second idea, because this is the result of the previous one. I punch a few buttons on a small keypad and display the chosen flashes on my TV screen in gaudy eye-catching color. So, it clearly indicates that I am using or to bring about the parallel structure in this sentence, to bring about the parallelism in this sentence, and then further we can understand that what would be the topic sentence in this? In this the topic sentence is talking about the activity. What does he want? I come home and want the news headlines. So, this is the topic sentence for which what you do? For which what did you do? You wanted to know about the latest football scores or stock market prices in a hurry without waiting for the next news broadcast. Then what is the conclusion? So, conclusion is this one. So, I punch a few buttons on a small keypad and display the chosen flashes on my TV screen in a gaudy eye-catching color. Then title. Okay. So, you have to suggest the title from your side, that is my daily routine could be the title, right? Understood everyone? So, with this note we move forward towards the references. These are the references that I have taken and the books that I have referred: Murphy Raymond 2015, and then Rizvi M. Ashraf, then Arora V. N. Chandra Lakshmi, Improve Your Writing. Then I have taken the references from Barry Memory, then Workshop Techniques in Creative Writing, Write to be Read, Reading, Reflecting and Writing, Leach and Zoffre, Satwik, then Communicative Grammar of English. For this I have referred to Strengthen Your Writing, then Easy Writer, and this is the link to correlate with several phrases and idioms from the social media. And then further we talk about the conclusion that you all must know that while talking about any kind of parallel structure, you have to remember that there are few aspects where everyone will be benefited. What are they? First of all, the coherence, because it is again a very important point, unity of thought. Second, after coherence, it must have a logical sequencing of all the ideas one by one in the paragraph. Third point, it must have the grammatical efficacy, and it must, after the grammatical efficacy, the usage of words should be appropriate. Fourth, you must have the clear version of the difference between title and topic sentence, because they too are very much different when we talk about paragraph writing. Okay. And then further, with this note, I am Dr. Divya Gupta, an assistant professor at GLA University, signing off for today, and I hope this lecture would be very beneficial for you if you can write down according to the same strategy. Okay, according to the same strategy, talking about emphasis, talking about the several features that may strengthen your writing. Thank you everyone. Thanks a lot.